Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sally and this is my channel Secret Life of a Seamstress, where I talk all about sewing, knitting, crafting and crochet and things like that. Thanks so much for joining me today and I hope you're all doing really well. So today I'm here to share with you a chatty sewing catch-up type video. So I have a few new makes to share with you and also a couple of works in progress as well. So I've got a cup of tea. This is my first cup of tea of the day. It's already 11:30 and this is the first time I'm having a cup of tea, so it's really needed. It's just been one of those mornings where one thing after the other has happened and I just haven't got around to having a cup of tea. So I thought I would get one, film my video and just sit here and chat to you about everything sewing and knitting. So yeah, I do have a few new things to share that I haven't even posted over on Instagram yet. I feel a bit at the moment as though it's really hard to keep up with everything. I don't know if anyone else is feeling that way. If you do what I do and post on YouTube and post on Instagram and everything, sometimes it feels as though it's really hard to keep up with everything. So I've had a few new makes for a while, but I just hadn't got around to photographing them properly. And then obviously once they're photographed, you need to edit them and then actually have the time to post. And I like to spend some time sort of engaging over there and trying to catch up with people that I follow as well. But sometimes it does just seem really hard to keep up with it all. So yeah, what I'm trying to say really is that I do have some things here to share with you that haven't yet made it over on Instagram. But now that they're all photographed and done, I will be putting them up over there soon as well. So if you don't already follow me on Instagram, you can do if you'd like to. I'm Secret Life of a Seamstress over there, and I do try to regularly post my makes and what I'm doing and what I'm up to, and I try to keep up with stories as well. I do really love Instagram. I think that the only thing with it is that for me, I think if I'm busy with other things, it is generally the thing that tends to slip for some reason. I feel as though I'm in quite a good routine with YouTube. I like to keep up with posting regularly, at least on a Sunday morning over here, but with Instagram I don't have the same kind of routine. So I think one of my jobs is to get myself back into a routine with Instagram so that I'm posting regularly and spending time on there, because I do miss it when I kind of slip out of it, and I miss catching up with the people that I follow and things like that. So yeah, it's just all about getting back into the routine with that, I think. Anyway, I think this is going to be a little bit of a chatty video because I feel as though that's the kind of mood I'm in this morning. It's really nice actually to just sit down and do a sit down chatty video, because my last few videos I've been up and about tidying things and doing things, and those videos feel sometimes a little bit more structured and like they need a lot more editing. So today's video feels nice. It feels like I can just sit here and chat, so which is always good. So anyway, before I waffle on anymore, I'm going to start sharing with you the new things that I've made. Oh no, actually first of all, I'll just quickly share with you what I'm wearing. Today we have actually had some sun and it's been slightly warmer here in the UK, which has been lovely. Yesterday it was such a lovely warm day, and today we woke up to sunshine as well, so I forced myself to put on a dress. And today I'm wearing my Megan Nielsen Darling Ranges and Tilly and the Buttons Lyra dress hack. This is one of my absolute favourite dress makes, I think. It's definitely one of the dresses that I reach for the most over the summertime. So it's the bodice of the Darling Ranges dress with the 3/4 length elasticated sleeves, and I've just attached that bodice to the midi length Lyra dress skirt with the gathered tiers. And it's worked really well, and as I always say, I must make another one of these for summertime because I really do love it. Right, I will get on with what I've been making now. So the first thing I have to share is something brand new, and it's something that I have been making for Minerva. I made a bomber jacket. So before I share with you my actual make, I'll just quickly talk you through the pattern that I used. So this is actually a New Look pattern. It's New Look 6545 and it's for this bomber jacket. So it's a quite simple bomber jacket. It's actually drafted for woven fabrics, and it has cuffs and a neckband, an opening zip that opens fully, and then a stretchy band around the bottom of the jacket as well. So your traditional style bomber jacket really. I've never made anything like this before actually, so it was a really good challenge for me as well, and I really enjoyed sewing this up. So here's the version that I made. So this is slightly seasonally inappropriate now, or is it? We are in the UK. And as I keep mentioning, it has been pretty cold, so I might get use out of this yet, you never know. So this is my version of that bomber jacket, and I've made it in one of Minerva's Sherpa fleeces. It is the softest, coziest fabric I think I have ever used in my life. It's just so lovely. This comes in a few different colours. There's a black one, cream I think, there might be a grey, and then there's this stone colour as well. And yeah, I thought this was just really on trend actually. There's quite a lot of these jackets around in the high street. I was really excited to sew this up. So just for disclaimer purposes, I was sent this fabric and the pattern as part of my work with Minerva, and more details on this jacket will be coming soon. So if I just open the zip and show you inside. The inside is actually lined with a Minerva lining as well, and this is a lovely soft woven silky kind of lining, and it makes it feel really nice when you're wearing it. It just kind of slides on and off really nicely because this fabric inside has got like a knit background to it, or a knit backing to it I should say. So yeah, you do need to line it really to make it look nice inside. So it's been a long time since I've inserted a zip like this, so it was really good to try it out. And using this fabric as well, it was quite a challenge, but I really enjoyed sewing this. It was something different for me because it had a lot of things and techniques in there that I hadn't done for a long while, and sewing with this fabric just added an extra challenge as well. So the fabric was actually okay to sew with. It was very bobbly, so you did need to make sure that all of your edges lined up neatly and that you were actually sewing fabric rather than just fluff. But other than that, and the fact that it did shed everywhere, as you would expect with a fluffy fabric like this, I did have to get the Hoover out afterwards, but it's worth it because, as I say, this fabric is just beautiful and soft and cozy, and it's perfect for dog walking. I think this will be a really good one for chilly dog walks and just throwing on, even in the summertime actually, when it is chilly in the evenings or whatever. And you might recognise this ribbing actually. Do you remember this? So I brought this tubular ribbing quite a long time ago, completely in error really. I wanted to make a South Bank top with it, but then when it came to it, because it was a tubular chunky rib, I didn't have anywhere near enough to make a top with it. And actually it's quite structured as well, so I'm not sure it would make the best top. But yeah, I managed to use it in the end, probably for what it should be used for really, which is an edging or a ribbing for a jacket or a jumper. And I think this colour, this brown colour, just goes really nicely with the stone colour of the fleece. So that was a really enjoyable sew, and it was nice to use one of the Big Four patterns as well. I haven't used one of the Big Four pattern companies' patterns for quite a long while, so it was really good to try out a new look pattern, and I have to say it was very nice and easy to follow. Definitely not as hand holding as, say, a Tilly in the Buttons pattern or a Sew Over It pattern would be. But yeah, it was fine. I think if you've got some sewing experience, then you're absolutely fine with those kind of patterns. So that was a good one. I'm really pleased with how that turned out actually, and I'm looking forward to getting some wear out of that. So yeah, stay tuned for more details about this make coming soon with Minerva. Another finished make that I quickly wanted to share or reshare, because you may have already seen this if you do watch my channel regularly. It's my Anthea / Sapphire jumpsuit hack. So I do have a whole video of me making this and the whole process of making this and everything, so I won't talk too much about this one in this video, and I will link that video down below if you do want more information. But basically I have used the Anthea Blouse by Anna Allen pattern for the bodice part of this jumpsuit, and I've attached it to the Sapphire trousers from the Make It Simple book by Tilly and the Buttons. So this was a kind of challenge hack for me. I just wanted to see if it would work. So I have made 2 other jumpsuits using the Sapphire trousers and 2 different bodices before, and I really liked how they turned out, and I love the Anthea blouse so much. I really wanted to try and make that into a jumpsuit as well. So for this version, I have used the short sleeves of the Anthea blouse pattern, which are actually the sleeves that go with the dress version of the pattern. They're really nice, and I prefer them short in a more structured fabric like this. So this is a cotton chambray from Minerva. It's a really lovely washed chambray actually. It's so lovely and soft. You know how sometimes chambrays can be quite cotton-like, can't they? They feel quite stiff almost. This one is really soft, and I think it's because it's a washed chambray. So I will link that down below if you're interested. So yeah, I used the short sleeves, obviously shortened the bodice slightly and attached to the Sapphire trousers, which I've left full length. So in the past, I've made a lot of pairs of culotte length Sapphire trousers. This year I seem to be favouring a more full leg trouser. So I thought I would leave the legs of this long for now. I can always cut them shorter if I do find that I would prefer this as a culotte length. I was kind of undecided when I made this whether I wanted it to be shorter or longer. So I'm just going to wear it really and see how I feel in it. Getting this out today, I do realise that I do need to actually finish a few things on this. So for a start, I need to hand sew up my belt opening. And I also need to find some way to secure this belt around the elasticated waist, because as you can see, it's slipping right down here. And I do find that as I've been wearing this, it does slip around the elasticated waist so that you can see the elastic. So I think if I just sewed this in place or put some belt loops in or something, it would cover that. Another couple of things that I did on this was to use a scrap of Atelier Brunette viscose for the binding around the neckline rather than just using the self fabric. And I've just added some flower shell buttons down the front as well. So I'm so pleased with how that hat came together. It was really, really fun to do. I did it based on a high street look. There are loads of denim things around on the high street at the moment, jumpsuits, dresses, things like that. So loads of denim around. So I really wanted to recreate something that I'd seen on the high street, or a look that I'd seen on the high street, and make it work for me this summertime. So that was a really fun hack to do. The next finished item I wanted to share with you is my wearable twirl of the Evelyn Skirt by Chalk and Notch. So I shared on Instagram a picture of a skirt that I'd seen in H&M, and I really wanted to recreate something similar. And I was looking around for a pattern that I could use to recreate or make a similar skirt. And as always, over on Instagram, everyone was so kind and helpful and sent me lots of different patterns that I could try. But the one that I preferred out of all the patterns I was sent was the Chalk and Notch Evelyn Skirt. I'll put an image of it in here because I just have it as a PDF. So the Evelyn skirt, it has 3 different options: a button down, mini or midi length skirt with a slit, or you can make an elasticated waist version with a slit as well. So I decided that my look that I wanted to recreate, really, the H&M skirt, was most similar to the elasticated waist version of the Evelyn skirt. So I decided to buy that pattern and have a go at it myself. I actually just downloaded this pattern as a PDF and I printed it off myself. The PDF is so long, there are so many pages to it. It is one that you can actually print off the size that you want, so you only need to print off your own size. But because there are 3 different versions of this skirt, there just seem to be pages and pages of it. And I couldn't see any way that I could just print version C. Let me know if there is a way, because obviously it's really good when PDF patterns are layered so that you can print your own size. I don't know if there's a way that patterns are layered so that you just print the version that you want. I couldn't find that anyway. So let me know if I'm missing something there. So initially I wanted to lengthen this skirt and have it as more of a longer midi length skirt. So I've actually altered my pattern and added a good few inches to it. And eventually I think I'm going to make a longer version of this. But I didn't really have any fabric that I wanted to use to make a longer length skirt. But I did have this fabric, which is a viscose twill fabric that I got from Fabric Godmother at the Knitting and Stitching show, and I hadn't really earmarked it for anything. And I thought it would make a really good wearable twirl of this skirt. So I only had 1.5 meters of this fabric. And let me tell you, it was a bit difficult to get it all out of 1.5 meters. I'd done that thing of kind of getting all the pattern pieces out and placing it roughly on the fabric. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll easily get that out of 1.5 meters, put it away and came back to it another day. And then when I actually laid all of my pieces out, I really struggled to get it out of 1.5 meters. And actually I shared on Instagram that when it came to it, I made such a hash of cutting this out. I think I'd got part of the selvage in part of the skirt as well. I'd cut out 2 pieces that I shouldn't have cut out. I think with the skirt pieces, obviously you only need 1 piece here and 1 piece here, and then they're joined together. But I'd cut out 2 of those. I obviously wasn't concentrating that day or something. Where I shouldn't have. I got the selvage involved, so that was in the seam allowance. And then when I was cutting the waistline for, I think, the back of the skirt, I've done that thing where, you know, when you fold fabric and you don't realise that the underneath part of your fold is actually slightly lower than the front part of your fold. So half of my waistband was missing. So yeah, all in all, it was a little bit of a trial. It's a good thing this was a wearable twirl. Anyway, I got there in the end, and yeah, here it is. So it did all work out well in the end, and I managed to sort out all of my little errors here and there. And I think it's turned out pretty well, and I think I will enjoy wearing this in the summertime. I did make a slight change to this in that the slit here, with the actual Evelyn Skirt pattern, the slit is actually curved. So you've got a kind of curved slit like this, and then you would normally attach a facing around the edge of that curved slit, and it would just be quite a wide slit, if that makes sense. Instead of actually doing that, all I did instead was just to sew my 2 front pieces together and leave a gap in that seam. And then all I've done with this version is just to overlock the part of the seam that I didn't sew together, so that I'm just left with a slit opening like this. And I feel like that is a little bit more modest in a way, because I think the curved slit is always open, if you see what I mean, whereas with this it just kind of flashes open now and again if you move your leg, if that makes sense. And that's what I wanted really, rather than having the curved slit. So obviously that was a really quick and easy change to make, and probably more simple actually than obviously sewing in the facing and everything. So yeah, really pleased with this, really pleased with how it looks with t-shirts and things like that. And I've also tried it on with my Ogden cami, and I think it looks really nice. So this isn't super long on me. I really would like a longer one. So I am going to look for another fabric that I can make a longer version of this skirt for the summer as well. This was a good test, and I'm really glad it was a test with all the mistakes that I made putting that one together. So the next finished make that I wanted to share with you is a new bathrobe, or a new dressing gown, however you say it. So this was my latest Minerva Ambassador project actually. So I've made the Hayley Robe by Tammy Handmade. This is a really lovely robe pattern. I have made it before. I made it in a cotton. But I mentioned recently that I don't tend to wear that cotton robe very much because I find it's not very cozy, and I always like to reach for cozy things, especially if I'm in my pajamas. So I wanted to make another version that I felt was a bit more cozy, and I have a very old super cozy fleece dressing gown that really needs replacing, but I wear that all the time. So I have here another Minerva core range, I think this is. It's a velvet bamboo toweling fabric, and it is really, really lovely. So it's toweling inside, and then the top of the fabric feels really velvety. So it's really nice and really cozy. Yeah, I thought it worked really nicely for the Tammy Handmade Hayley Robe pattern. So the Hayley Robe itself is really simple, really quick and easy to make. It's really kind of straightforward. The sleeves are sewn flat. This binding here, is that what you call it, a binding or a facing maybe, just goes all the way from the hem all around the neck and back down again. It has 2 really large pockets in it as well. It was really nice to sew this fabric, but again it was another one that really did shed everywhere, even worse than my Sherpa fabric. This was just covering everything. So it covered the floor, it covered the table, it covered the ironing board. I had to hoover absolutely everywhere after using this, but I think you expect that when you have a fabric like this. I've used fleece, minky fleece, making a dressing gown for my daughter in the past, and I had the same thing. It's just the way it is with these cozy fabrics, isn't it? So I thought I might need to put this in the wash again after I'd made it, just to get all the bits off, but actually once it was sewn and overlocked, it was fine. So I mainly made this actually on my overlocker. I overlocked everything except when I needed to top stitch So I top stitched the hems obviously, and then just top stitched on the pockets as well. So the dressing gown itself actually has a little hanging loop here, and also some belt loops at the sides, if I can show that. And because this fabric was quite thick, I decided to instead use a couple of scraps of my Liberty Tana lawn to make the hanging loop and the belt loops instead of using the self fabric, because this was just too thick really to make those skinny little loops. And actually I really like how that's turned out. It kind of adds a little bit of a pop of colour to an otherwise quite plain make, I think. And yeah, I think it goes really nicely, and I'm really pleased that I did that. So I'm really glad to have this dressing gown in my wardrobe. It will replace eventually my cosy old fleece dressing gown, although I haven't quite brought myself to get rid of that yet, because I still like to put it on now and again. If you want to read my full Minerva write-up, I'll link my Minerva profile down below. I've written up a full blog review all about the fabric and the pattern, so I'll pop that below if you are interested in that. So that brings me to the end of my finished makes, and I thought I would just share with you before I go a few works in progress that I've got going on. So I have 2 sewing works in progress at the moment. So the first thing that I've got going on sewing wise is my Jessa Jeans by Tilly and the Buttons. So I've been saying that I need to make these for so long, haven't I? And I've been putting it off and putting it off because I've been a little bit nervous about this make, but the other day I thought I just need to get on with it. And I opened the pattern and traced off my size and everything, and I've actually cut out, I'm not going to move this too much because everything is in place with the pattern pieces on and everything, but I've cut out the shorts version of the Jessas from a denim that I'd had in my stash for ages that can hopefully be a wearable twirl so that I can get the sizing right for when I make the actual jeans. So I did need to do a little bit of tracing off for this, or not a little bit, I needed to trace off the full pattern because I needed to grade between some sizes. So with Tilly and the Buttons patterns, I'm normally between a size 2 and a size 3. For these shorts, I was a bit of a weird size actually. I needed to make a size 3 at the waist and grade into a size 2 at the hips, according to the measurements. And obviously I might need to make some adjustments along the way. I might end up finding that the hips are too small, I don't know. But based on the finished garment measurements and my body measurements and everything, those were the sizes that I needed. So that's what I've gone for. So this has been cut out for a few days and I haven't had time to get on with any of the sewing yet. I have it all stored nicely in one of my zipper pouches. These are working really well for me, by the way. It's making me get on with things much more, just knowing that I have these to store cut out patterns in and that everything isn't going to be left everywhere. Because normally I tend to only have one thing on the go at a time anyway, but all I used to do with my cut out projects was just leave them up there on the shelf, and they felt a little bit as if anything got knocked or anything, they could all fall off and get lost. But now just having these zipper pouches, at least I know that I can store cut out projects or works in progress and everything in really nicely and securely, and things aren't going to go anywhere. But at least it's cut out now anyway, and I felt as though I just needed to get on with those in some way because I hadn't even opened the pattern envelope or looked at the sizing or anything, so I just needed to force myself to do something on it. And knowing that I've got this cut out now is making me feel as though I just want to get on with them, so that's good. Another work in progress that I have going on at the moment is that I'm in the middle of a Patina Blouse by Friday Pattern Company in a fabric that I've had in my stash for a little while now. And it's one of those that's so beautiful that I didn't even want to cut into it. But I needed to get on with this because I just wanted it to be done and I wanted to be able to wear it in the summertime. So I'll put in a picture of the Patina Blouse while I'm talking, just so that you can see it if you don't know what I'm talking about. But I absolutely love the Patina Blouse by Friday Pattern Company. And I have 2 versions. I've got a short sleeve version and a long sleeve version. The long sleeve version I wear all the time. If we ever have a meal out or anything that's kind of smart casual, I really reach for it to wear just with a pair of jeans, and it just feels really nice to wear. So I have been for ages wanting to make another one, and I brought this fabric from the Knitting and Stitching show back in October from Fabric Godmother, and it was just one of those really special fabrics. I did buy enough to make a Patina blouse. I knew that's what I wanted to make with it, but I was just really scared of actually cutting into it. This is a viscose crepe fabric and it just has the prettiest print all over it. It reminds me of a vintage eiderdown or something like that. It's just got a really delicate floral print on it and it's in pinks and beiges and it has a nice sort of black wobbly print running through it as well. So anyway, I have this all cut out and I have started the sewing process and this is where I am with it. So I've got the front and back sewn together. I've done my darts and I've also done the back with the burrito method finish, which is always really nice. And I'm just really enjoying taking my time with this one. So I'm really trying not to rush. I did a couple of hours on this the other day and just slowed down and really enjoyed all of it and just enjoyed the fabric and enjoyed the process. And it was just a lovely bit of sewing time. I'll show you the collar as well because I do love a collar. I'm just trying not to scatter all of my pieces everywhere. So this is the collar all sewn up. That will go around like this. So it's a nice flat collar, which is really nice and easy to sew. And I just find making collars so satisfying. And again, I just really slowed down with this and took my time and got everything pressed really nicely and everything. So at the moment, that's where I am with that. And even though I'm taking my time, I can't wait for this to be done because I think it's going to be such a nice, pretty summer blouse to wear. And then lastly, I thought I'd just do a quick knitting update of where I am with my Rosa cardigan and also talk to you about this project bag as well. So first of all, I'll show you the cardigan. So I'm actually onto the first sleeve with this now, and I'll try and show you without dropping all of my stitches. So I've done all of the body of the cardigan. You see the nice raglan detail at the shoulders there. I really am enjoying this knit actually. I think it's got a really good balance to it of the interest of the lace at the raglan, and then by the time you're finished that, you're ready to just have a bit of relaxing stocking stitch to do. And I like how this is cropped. So I'm always a bit nervous about cropping cardigans. My instinct is always to add length to things because I'm scared of them ending up too short. But with this one, I did want it to be quite cropped because I want to wear it with exactly what I'm wearing today, really, like dresses and things like that and high-waisted things. So I do need it to be cropped. And obviously it's nice because there's less knitting to do. So that's my cropped length. I have tried this on and it seems as though it's fitting really nicely. And I've just done this much of the first sleeve. So that's where I am with that, really enjoying it. And again, try not to rush, but also really want this to be done for summertime. I think when you get to the sleeves, when you're knitting something top down like this, they do tend to knit up quite quickly because you've already got most of the sleeve done in the yoke anyway. And then rather than knitting flat, you're actually losing stitches as you knit down. So it gets quicker and quicker rather than when you knit flat, you're kind of going upwards and adding stitches. So I'm hoping that it won't take me too much longer to get my sleeves done. And then you do need to pick up and knit the button band on this, so that will need to be done as well. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that and hoping for that to be done soon because like with my sewing at the moment, there are a lot of knitting projects I'd really like to get on with for summertime as well. I feel as though if you're knitting, particularly in the summertime, and you want to wear what you're knitting in the summer, you need to knit fast. But yeah, not like sewing, is it, where you can just whip something up in a couple of hours. Knitting takes time, so that's where I am with that. I also just thought I would quickly share with you my little project bag here because this has been so handy for storing knitting projects. Put in an image of the pattern because I didn't bring it down with me. It's a really great pattern. This again is something that I made for Minerva actually, and more details will be coming on this soon as well. It's a great pattern with lots of different bag variations, and I made up this cute little zipper pouch. Wasn't intended for keeping knitting projects in actually, but it's actually working really well for storing my current knitting projects in. And I also put a couple of other things in here as well, like my pattern and my tape measure and things like that, and it just keeps everything together. It's a really simple lined zipper pouch, and I think I made this up in around an hour while I was filming. But actually I think if you weren't filming and you're a speedy sewer, you would get this knocked up in about half an hour. It's really Really easy pattern, and I must make more because it's really nice to have your projects in a bag like this. I think I've never really been much of a project bag person. I just tend to throw everything in a wicker basket that I've got by my sofa. But actually having everything together like this is really good because I can just pull this out and I know where everything is. So I thought I would just share that with you as well. Okay, so I think that's everything that I have to share with you today. Thank you so much for watching. Apologies if the video has been a little bit waffly and chatty. I feel a bit as though I've been a bit all over the place this morning. I don't know why, but it was really nice to just sit down and film a chatty sewing catch-up video. Let me know in the comments what you're making at the moment. If you're a knitter, let me know what you're knitting. And if you're a sewer, let me know what's on your sewing table at the moment. What are you sewing for summer? And if you're not in summertime, let me know what you're sewing for winter. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'd love you to consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And if you have enjoyed the video, please give it a like as well. Liking the video just helps me to know whether you enjoy the video and whether I should make more of them. And it also helps me out on the YouTube algorithm as well. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.